Alrighty, welcome everybody to this week's episode of She's of Love. And today we have Rachel Rich, which is like the OG of the OG. If you've been watching for a long time, you were one of our first guests. So it's actually such an honor to still like have you on again. I feel like you've seen every single stage of She's of Love, even when it wasn't called She's of Love. And yeah, I'm really honored to have you on again. So thank you.
Wow, it's a beautiful evolution.
Yeah. Today's topic is about living in alignment without being rigid. And I think you've got actually such a soft perspective on things and like a kind and I think very easy to align with and understand your words and the way that you see the world. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you talk about this because you're a voice. I feel like every time we talk, at least, you have a really beautiful way of explaining how you go through things, and your journey.
Yes.
And the way that you talk about it, at least from my perspective, is you have an understanding of being kind to yourself and not falling into rigidity too much. And then when you do fall into being rigid, you call yourself up on it and like you talk about that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm really intrigued to hear what you have to say about this topic. So I'll hand the mic over to you.
Thank you. And it's when I seen the topic come through, I thought, how interesting, because, my previous life and career was very rigid.
That's why I thought you'd be perfect for this topic.
Yeah, so it's been a big unwinding, and I love the bit about coming into alignment, because I think as we move forward, on this journey of life and sort of what we're moving through and what the world is moving through right now is, it is coming back into alignment with the self. And for me, and as like the last time we spoke, which we were just talking about, I found myself in a really precarious sort of a situation where I didn't have a home or a house, but I had friends that opened up for me and my daughter in different places, and we've found ourselves now living in a house, which is really wonderful. And so coming back into that alignment, what I've been journeying with recently is the alignment of the cells within my body. So within the fascia, and getting back in touch with, for years I've been doing stuff all out here and bringing the energies in, and now the body seemed to me to be the last frontier, and it's letting go of that rigidity that I hold in my body. So so it's been a really, really, really big journey, and I've just signed up to do a instructor course it's called Block Therapy. And it took me a long time to really get involved with, not involved, but to really accept it, I suppose, because of the name Block. I'm like, I don't know about this, what's it really about? But it's actually, the block part of it is that it's a wooden block.
Right.
That you are doing fascial decompression like a wooden yoga block. And for a long time, I couldn't do that. It was just too painful. So you're also a pain seeker. So you're seeking the pain within your body, and you're melting away the adhesions, and you're bringing that fluidity back within the body. So again, that's coming out of that rigidity that we sometimes, don't think we are in, but we might be,
Yes.
But cells back into alignment, because as we age and we, gravity takes hold, we are spiraling down and twisting and getting out of alignment, and we don't understand why sometimes, and we're going to chiropractors and massages and all of that helps, and they're all just band-aid effects, but this is really pulling you back out of that spiraling down and into that, I suppose, where we do feel that rigidity in our body, and bringing the alignment back. So and I'm very open and curious to the different parts of my body where I hold this pain.
Mm.
I think I'm ready to face it. So
yeah, like that's what I was just going to say, because when you're when you release the tension in the body, wherever it's being held, it's almost like it's an emotional release as well, because I feel like your emotions create the rigidity in the body. And so when you get into the fascia and you manipulate that and you get rid of that rigidity, it releases that emotion, whatever it was that put it there in the first place. And so
Yeah.
I truly believe the two are linked very, very closely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm interested to hear more about that. So
Yeah.
when are you starting that?
Oh, so I've been doing it for about 18 months now. But just sort of, I've just sort of been on the surface of it. And then I started the instructor course the end of last year, which will be wrapping up in May. And then I can do like either online classes like through Zoom, or I can do one-on-one, or I can do, like you'd go to a yoga class in a studio or whatever. So I'm just getting used to being on camera. I mean,
Yeah.
this is really the only time I ever show up on camera. So yeah, getting used to that and learning to speak the language so I can, give instruction clearly. Um, but yeah, just I'm amazed, I mean, I take these blocks to bed with me. So if I have nights where I don't sleep, I will start sort of blocking certain parts of the body, and it helps to, reset the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's all to do with diaphragmatic breathing as well. So it's very meditative. And that's
Mm.
and it's, because I've done many, many, many modalities over the years, and it's all in order to help other people, which is great. But this I can do for myself. And that feels really, really, really good. And just knowing that, I'm bringing myself back, listening to what my body is telling me. I'm very conscious now of, where my feet placement are, because we all just have these little ways that we stand, or with the way we sit, and the patterns that we hold within the body. And so this is, and it links up really nicely with the orthobionomy that I've, been studying for years as well. But it's something that I can do for myself, which just feels really, really, really amazing. So, but I have to say, the first few times, I didn't have the blocks to start with, but I would use a rolled up towel, which is what they suggest. And some of the things, some of the places where you start, like I did my cesarean scar like on the pubic bone, and it felt like I was being stabbed with this, just with a towel, mind you, with hot glass. It was really, really intense, whereas now I can lay on the block and be quite comfortable in that. Well, it is uncomfortable, but there's this comfort to this pain. Like
Mm.
you start to appreciate the pain and what it's telling you, and it's, and when you're breathing properly and down into the belly, your the pain receptors then turn to pressure. So it's a really unusual, unique way of letting the body come back into alignment. But I'm really enjoying it so far. So I'm glad to see sort of where it takes me. Yeah, moving.
I I understand what you're talking about in like almost a pleasure in the pain, because I mean I haven't done block therapy or anything like that, but I'm through yoga and stretching.
Yes.
There's and you have to kind of toe the line, at least in my practice. I toe the line between a good kind of pain and stopping there, because if you go too far then you can hurt yourself.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, when you're stretching, like when you find the breath and you come into your body, the pain feels like I crave it almost. Like
Yeah.
I crave it when I go and stretch. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to stretch. And
It feels like a healing pain.
yeah, it's like healing. And
Yes.
yeah, I think any type of practice that you go to consistently that brings you into your body is honestly the best way to align yourself. It's the most foundational form.
Mm.
Yes.
Um, it's not about, that's what I love about yoga, that's what I love about movement or any physical practice, is the fact that it's not about your dreams. It's not about figuring out how you're going to do the best career. It's not about figuring out how you're going to make money.
It gets out of your head.
It's not about, it's literally coming into the present moment and just being with really the only thing that matters, because once your health is gone, it topples everything else in your life.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
I really love that about any kind of physical practice.
Yeah, and it's really diverse. Like there's things that I'm learning, you know, that I'm like, my gosh, like I didn't know that that we all hold so much tension in the eyebrows, you know, by laying on this block and then just gently, these are micro movements and the intensity of the pain in the eyebrows. And I'm like, wow, like it is, you know. So I've suggested to people who haven't yet got blocks, like if you've got a rolling pin, you know, the old wooden rolling pin, just lay down and put your forehead on it, you know, rest it between your eyebrows there, and then breathe into it. And then in a few moments, just sort of gently move it to the left or right. And just as you get into those brows, you'll see what I mean. It's just really, really, really intense, but it's just so beautiful to breathe through it and then finally feel, you know, if you can hold it there. But every time those eyebrows get me, and the chin, you wouldn't realize how much we hold tension in the chin, you know, the same thing. But so I'm softening into my body, you know, letting go of that rigidity that once upon a time was, you know, commanded into me. I'm finding those paces of whether it's, trauma or fear or where I've stuffed it down and hid it deep in within the body, you know, it's time to sort of bring it up, and I'm, you know, ready for that. And one of the it I felt the resistance before I started doing it. Like there was this anchoring in of me sort of wanting to do it, but I was afraid. I was scared to face that pain in my body, you know, until it got to the point where I thought, I can't live like this anymore. I've got to do something. And now that I have, and I've started to open up to it and, you know, feel good in my body, more fluid in my body, and letting go of that, rigidity, and bringing that alignment back from the cellular structure it's just a really beautiful gift. I see it as a gift. Yeah.
I'm reminded of a scene in a movie. I think it was Fleabag, not movie, it was a series, wasn't it? Fleabag. Where there's a scene where there are two women sitting in a bar, and
pain.
Yes. And
I love this.
and one of the women says to the other, I forget her name as a character, and I forget her name as an actress too. But one woman is telling the other woman how pain is built in as a woman. You know, we as women, we experience pain as part of life, because we have menstrual cycle, which comes with pain. We come with pregnancy, which comes with pain. We come with childbirth, which comes with pain. And when all of that is over, then you've got menopause, which comes with pain. Like, it's just our whole lives are peppered with painful experiences, like physically painful, I'm talking here. And I'm going through menopause at the moment. And so I think about that scene in that movie quite a bit, because it's like, it is so true. You don't really, like, when I was growing up, I wasn't really aware of it. It was just because that was life. It was just my body, and it was the way, you know, I experienced life, and I just thought it was just normal. And then I saw that scene in that movie, and I was like, oh my God, that is so true. It's so true. Like, pain is built in for women. And I've really think that it's focusing on being soft, focusing on releasing that pain, focusing on allowing ourselves to acknowledge that it's there, and then going, you know what, I'm done with that. I want to get rid of it now. I want to release it. And so what you're talking about with the blocks, pressing in to that pain, physically pressing in to release it, makes so much sense to me, because it's like a massage when somebody gets into those knots
Yes.
in your back or in your shoulders and they're releasing that knot. It's like this, the pain is intense, but it's a relieving
Yeah.
experience. And yeah, so I chose you for this subject matter, this topic, because of your background in the army and the rigidity that comes with that. And I've always felt an affinity with you, with that career that you had, because being a flight attendant, there was a lot of things people wouldn't necessarily equate being a flight attendant with being in the army, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of rules. There's a lot of behavior modification
Yeah.
that comes with being a flight attendant, because of safety, because of, you know, things like that. So it was a very, very rigid
Yeah.
career
Mm.
because things needed to be followed very, very closely. Rules needed to be followed, systems, ways of being with other crew members, because you were a team. Like, it was really drilled home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of benefit and a lot of goodness in that, having that as a career, like that structure,
Yeah.
and learning to live that way and learning the benefits of that. But then once you've got, and this is what I used to say to Juliet all the time, is like, once you've got the rules down pat and you understand the rules and you're really like versed, and your behavior has understood why it has to be that way, that's when you can break the rules. That's when you can break the rules, because you have an understanding of why it's there. And I feel like a little bit this relates, because the pain became the pain because of reasons. There's reasons why your eyebrows feel that pain.
Mm.
And then to be able to break it, it's like, now, because you understand why it's there, now you can go in and really loosen up those fibers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I want to speak to what you said a little bit earlier too, is that, that scene in the movie with women, and pain is built in. But I feel that that pain that is built in is also a program, that that programming, that fear, which keeps us contracted, which then amplifies this pain, because I do have a few women that I associate with that have, in terms of childbirth, yes, it's painful, but then they've had, those orgasmic ecstatic births, and, as a woman being a portal bringing in souls, they try to keep you suppressed so that you don't reach the heights of, the other realms while you're in that space, which is a very incredible gift to be able to have, but then it's been, programmed out of us that we have the ability to do that.
Right.
So we shrink into the pain.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, 100%. I love that perspective,
Yeah.
because for me, I didn't have, in my life, I didn't have women around me who could coach me or talk to me about their stories, or, childbirth to me was like a really scary thing.
Yeah.
And it was something that it was really intimidating to me. And I went into hospital, and I'd chosen a birthing centre that had a bath that I could be in water. And I don't know, I just had an intuition that being in water for me would help with the pain and help with the whole process. And it did, because as soon as I got to the birthing suite, I got in the shower straight away, and the heat of the water and just being in the water really helped with the pain. And then it got to a point where they were like, okay, you can get in the bath now. And, oh, it was like such a relief, because the buoyancy of being in the water, you know, taking that gravity off my whole experience of it. And I relaxed. And then once I relaxed, things started to move on their own, and my body started to do things that it was supposed to do, because the fear wasn't as great.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when they saw that happening, they saw that the body was starting to get ready, they pulled me out of the water, because they were like, we're not insured. You can't have the baby in the water because we're not insured in case something goes wrong. So they pulled me out of the water, and then that was it. Everything stopped once I got out of the water. Like, my body just shut down.
Yeah, contracted. Oh my God. And it's so interesting that you speak to that, Claudia, because where I'm moving with this block therapy and all my other modalities as well is I'm working with women who have had their births, and I'll say it on here, but like hijacked, that go in to have that natural birthing, you know, trusting in their body and everything, and they end up coming out with an emergency cesarean. So I had 2 cesareans. So, and then of course, being a new mum, you're so busy in the postnatal, you know, stuff that's happening, and you know, after cesarean, you're healing, but life just goes on, and you don't ever really get to revisit what the actual fuck happened in that case, right? So
Yeah.
helping women to, you know, or especially if it's their first pregnancy, and then like me, then told that, oh no, you have to have another cesarean because you had one before, you know, and I was still in the military system then too, so I can see it so clearly now how it all played out. But so that's my lived experience. But giving women the ability to take their power back and trust their bodies, because we've been doing this for thousands of years. We don't need, you know, of course, I know, understand where hospitals have their place, but more often than not, there are so many stories. And my massage therapist, she, you know, she speaks to it all the time. She goes, oh my God, if the women that have sat in that chair and told me that story, that they've gone in, or they give them I don't know the name of the drug, it starts with P, that they do for the, to induce them.
Yes.
Well, that then the body gets confused because it's doing, like you said, naturally doing what it needs to do. And then it's hijacked by this synthetic drug, which then creates contractions, but they're not in sync with the body. And then the baby gets stressed, and then they get stressed, and they go, oh, now the baby's stressed, so you have to have an emergency cesarean.
Yeah, there you go.
You go. So yeah, so I'm working with pelvic stabilization and healing that area for women to take their power back, to be able to heal much deeper. And you know, and if they do want to have a go at a natural birth, that then they are in their power to say so. And they deep trust in their body to say so. And they've loosened up, they're working with their body to loosen up the fascia and all the areas that will contract. You know, yes, it'll still be a painful experience, but it's that there's the beauty in the pain and of the birth. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really, like, now in where I'm at in my life, if I had back then someone like you to help me with that back then, to educate me and to kind of like say, it's okay, your body knows what it's doing, because I didn't have that back then. I was listening to medical, you know, the medical side of things. Well, it's so clinical, and it's like, this is what you will get from us. And none of that conversation was about, this is what you will give yourself. This is how you will be able to have this baby. It was all about safety precautions, and this is what will happen if this happens. And I didn't feature in the story anywhere.
Well, actually, sorry to interrupt, but birthing and the way that it's been built to now is so misogynistic. And it is all about it's actually the position. It goes even into the position that women
On their back.
on their back in hospitals that doctors seem to love. That started because King James, I think it was, or some king wanted to sit and watch his wife birth.
Yep.
And usually they would go on the ground to help gravity pull the baby out.
Yep.
But because the king wanted to watch, they put her on her back.
Yeah.
And then that became a almost like a fashion trend, kind of like how brides always wear white. That only started because of a queen did it. So because the queen did it, then everybody else started doing it, and it just caught on. And then
so
like
much you have to let go of, isn't there?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it still makes no sense why hospitals are doing it this way. It's for the doctor. It is not for the woman. It's the most painful way. It goes against the pelvic muscles because your pelvic muscles contract in that position, so it makes your pelvic floor smaller. So you're more likely to tear because you're contracting. It's like
It's
and
brutal.
then yeah, it's even down to having the placenta attached. Like if women have to request and request and request for, I want the placenta to be attached for longer, and there's like an argument about it. Why is there an argument? No, that's like what she wants. She's just carried this baby for 9 months and then pushed it out. There should be no like it actually it gets me angry because it's like how are we even like how is that even a debate? How can you even say anything?
They have their reasons. They have their very well rehearsed reasons.
Yeah, but it's just if men had to give birth, the world would look very different. I mean, thank goodness that's not the case, but if like there would be no questioning it. It like I don't know, it just anyway, it makes me angry, so I'll leave it there.
So this whole journey is really about reminding the body and that it's safe to soften.
Yeah.
So and even
safe to soften, I love that.
Yeah, and so even with this, I work with my scar because I've got 2 scars now, but every day, softening the fascia in and around, and because that also, when you've had cesareans or even appendix removed, that's been cut and then sewn, but it pulls everything forward.
Yeah.
So we're, softening and lengthening to allow, even the right posture to be able to sit and stand properly as well. We don't realize how much these scars or these, surgeries and stuff actually affect us, especially, mid-50s now, and we start to feel everything because everything's contracted. So so I'm learning it's safe to be soft in my body, and that's the other thing is reminding myself of the safety. So if I can help women feel safe in their bodies to then go and deliver or just recover from a traumatic situation. There's one young girl that makes my coffee down at the local coffee shop, and she had her first child about 2 years ago, and exactly that happened. She had her birthing suite and and she came out having an emergency there. It was so traumatic. She doesn't want any more children.
Yes.
Yes, no, it was just awful, nothing that I'd planned had gone the way I wanted, and she's only late 20s, early 30s. So she's definitely really keen to come and taste some of my medicine. So so that, it's working with, young women like that too. And then of course older women who have beyond childbearing years, but maybe into menopause, but still have those adhesions and that scarring. So bringing it all together and weaving it all together really nicely to just to bring some stability back.
Yeah, I think that's such important work,
Yeah.
really, because that being a portal for life that's really the job. When you get pregnant and you have a baby, it's really a portal for life to be birthed onto this earth. And the fact that it's been tampered with so dramatically, and it's been, you know, the power has been taken away from the feminine, to think that it's not it's not a natural thing. Like, it's not as easy as, like, it's been complicated, it's been confused, it's been manipulated, you know, the whole story around it, everything has just been completely and utterly manipulated in my mind. I know for my younger self, looking back, if I could have spoken to her what I know now, if I could have imparted some of the wisdom that I have now to my younger self, and, you know, just offered her some relief from the anxiety and the fear around it, and empowered her to believe that she could do it, that her body is made for that.
Made for that, exactly.
Yeah, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand any of that. I didn't get any of that. I was so scared of it. I was afraid of hospitals, and I'm not anymore. I'm not afraid of hospitals anymore because of the experience. I mean, some women, I think, would have a bad experience and go the opposite and never want to be in a hospital again. But for me, it desensitized me.
Yeah.
And my experience empowered me more, because I was like, this, you know, I felt like I knew. It's going to sound so egotistical, but when I came out of that experience, I felt like I knew more than they did in a lot of
your body than they did.
Yeah, I realized that through that experience, because of, you know, I had this nurse who, she was horrible, and I was praying that I wouldn't get her as my nurse on the day, that she wouldn't, she'd have a day off, or she just wouldn't have a shift. Of course, she was the nurse on shift when I went into labor, and it was like, yeah, it was just, I walked out of there thinking, I want to do it again, and I'm doing it my way next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how empowered you're going to be, Juliet, when your time comes, and how that rigidity will be, you know, softened, and you will be able to be open and curious and step into that.
Yeah.
And be totally in awe of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what I want going into it when the day comes. I'm not thinking too much about it, but
it's not on the horizon yet, but yeah, definitely
one day.
Her wisdom is greater than
to have
mine.
that knowledge and wisdom, you know, now to know that, it doesn't have to be, you know, the way that we sort of we carve the path to to make that change, but and went through some pretty horrific experiences to get to the point we are now, to look back and say, hey, we don't have to do it this way anymore.
Yeah.
I love that this conversation has gone from the topic to this subject, because I think it's so relevant, talking about pregnancy and having babies and taking our power back as women, and softening into our bodies and not being so rigid, because that is the definition of childbirth.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're coming into alignment with ourselves, you know.
That's right. That's right. And when you have rigidity in your body when you're giving birth, that's counteractive to what the body is actually doing.
It creates pain.
Yeah. And when I surrendered, that was the thing. When I was in the water and I found myself being able to surrender to the process, that was when things started to work. It's like, it was almost like, you know,
your body, which wisdom switches on.
Exactly. It's not like a car where you take your foot off the pedal and it stops working. It's the opposite.
It gives that space. You're giving your body space to do what it inherently knows what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having that understanding is so beneficial for the experience, understanding that your body has that ability.
I think it also teaches your children because they know, like the baby knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course,
Can feel it.
they are whole and they come in all knowing. They just can't express it all like they can now. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're driving that ship, you know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, Rachel, what a nourishing conversation. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you.
much. Really, really love speaking with you. And we won't leave it so long till we have you on again next time. Yeah, that brings us to the end of our conversation. So thank you for your time and your generosity.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Yeah, thanks for going there and the way it all weaved together. It's just beautiful. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. And
bye.
thank you, everybody,
See you
for
next
watching.
week, everyone. Bye.